3 reasons that kids do not follow your directions. Now, if you're a mom and this has happened for you, raise your hand. You tell your kid to do something, they don't do it. I'm going to share a little example from my week this week. I've got a kid having a birthday this week, and then a younger sibling, her sister, who has started some new after school activities, and her typical response to a direction that I give her was really different the other day. So I want to use this as a teaching example for you guys, and then give you some ideas about what the solution is, what actually works. All right, are you with me? Say if you're with me. I can see some people are joining. Welcome. I'm so glad you guys are joining live. I am joining you from my phone because, I don't know, Facebook on the laptop has just decided not to connect and communicate anyway. So I'm here with you, but I can't see your comments or any of that. So click the like button. I could probably see that if you are, if you're down for this topic today. If you need to learn ways to get your kid to follow your directions more easily without arguing back or blowing you off or ignoring you. Today, we're going to be looking at 3 reasons why kids are not following your directions. Your child is blowing you off, ignoring you, saying yes and not doing it, and why this happens for kids. And this is not usually happening for the same reason that you think it's happening. And I want to make this abundantly clear to you today. I talk to parents all the time about what's going on with their kids. I offer a free consultation where there's an assessment, and I can get a really clear picture of what's going on with your kid. And there are several factors that parents overlook that can be going on for your kid if they're not following your directions. Here's what parents think it is. We jump to thinking that first of all, thoughts like, what is wrong with this kid? What is the matter with this kid? I didn't have this trouble with my other child, or I can see that other kids his age or her age are not struggling in the same way. You might also be hearing from the teacher that there are problems with staying focused or cooperating or following directions at school as well. That can happen. Sometimes it's only at home, and they save the best for you, meaning the biggest emotions, the messiest emotions for you. Other times it happens everywhere, and that doesn't have to mean anything. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean something horrible about you as a parent, or necessarily about the teacher or your child's teacher or school. Every situation is so unique and so different, and this is something that I consult with individually on people because it is so different on a case-by-case basis. But the 3 biggest reasons, we're going to start with the simplest one and the most obvious one, that your kids don't follow your directions. Number 1, they just didn't really get what you said. They didn't hear you. So it can be they didn't hear you, or the number 2 reason is they didn't understand it. And you may, in your mind, be asking them to do something. You've asked them a million times yesterday. I asked my daughter to please unload the dishwasher. Everything in there was clean. The dishes were piling up in the sink. I had calls all day. Her dad was working all day. We weren't going to get to it. And please, could she unload the dishes? And typically, I get a really neutral, if not agreeable response from this particular kid. And you're lucky if you got one like that. And I got no response. There was no response. It was maybe even a little huff. And which, again, this is nothing. Like, in the realm of like kids who have intense emotions and who are really spirited and really strong-willed, I know this is like no big deal. But nevertheless, I heard the huff or whatever, and I thought, I think like she's not going to agree to do that. Like something was going on for her. And this is an easy example because I know that this is something that typically she would do, or she would help me with, or do it with me We do this together a lot. And instead, there was something more like what parents would call defiance, or what other parents would call refusal, even. I think I asked her again, and then on the second time when there was more of a refusal, like, I can't, or I don't want to. And she left to go play basketball outside. I was like, so where most parents would go at this point in your interaction with your kid is what? You guys drop it in the comments. Irritation, annoyance, maybe even like this locking horns. If you have a strong-willed kid and that's a pattern you're in, you might lock horns at this point. I live with 2 Aries. And so we use that phrase a lot. Like, let's not lock horns. I use it a lot. Let's not lock horns. We didn't need to lock horns about this power struggle, right? Dig your heels in, tug of war. Instead, I watched her go out to play basketball. And because I've been doing this, I've been a therapist for 20 years. I'm really into the dynamics of things, and I love being curious about stuff. I knew enough. I have practiced enough that my knee-jerk response is, I wonder what's going on with her. And you may do that too. If you notice your kid is off. And then I'll spare you all the details. But anyway, she wasn't feeling very well. And so often either your kid did not hear you, or they didn't understand the direction. They didn't get what you're really asking them to do. And this happens because kids are into other things. They're hyper focused on something. They're in their imagination, and they may even say, okay, but they're really not listening. And typically, let's be honest, that happens when you're calling out from another room. You're not with them. You're not asking for their attention. You're not asking for their eye contact. You have a really low bar, actually, in what you're asking for. You need to be direct with your kid, and you need to make eye contact, and you need to make sure that they hear you. Why? Because what you have to say is valuable, and you need them to know that. What you have to ask them is important, and you deserve for them to listen. So that's what's underlying all of the parents shouting from another room. And we say it's because we're lazy, and we say it's we're busy and because we're working so much, but that's not really it. There's an emotional component to all of this. That's your blind spot. And the blind spot is like, oh, I feel bad. Like when we dig down in my clinical work with clients, it's like, oh, I feel bad asking. I know, they're working so hard, or I'm not sure what's even appropriate, or they should know. There's irritation there. There's anger. I don't feel supported. I don't feel taken care of. They should know. I've asked them a million times. They should already know. So we have these stories running. This is where it gets interesting. This is where the work with our clients moves mountains, because you don't even know all that stuff is in there. You didn't even know what's going on under the surface. You're just seeing the surface level, not your blind spot. And you're thinking, why aren't they doing the thing? I've asked them. I've been clear. I've asked again. So a lot of parents will just launch right into nagging. I've asked a second time, a third time. You're not asking. You're not really communicating if you're asking 3, 4, 5, 6 times. It's a total waste of your time. You need to have a real connection and communication with your kid if they're not hearing you that much. You want to find out what the heck is going on. Are they not hearing me, or are they actually refusing to do what I'm asking, and why? Why? These are all open doors to more communication. Okay, the third way. So that's all easy stuff. That 1 and 2, this easy stuff. You could probably take what I'm hearing, what you're hearing, what I'm telling you here, and you could probably put it into practice with your kids today. You could get close to them. You could put a hand on them, and you could say, hey, and this could be with a 15-year-old or a 5-year-old. Honestly, it's the same. If you have a teenager, you may want to give a little more space. But it's the same, hey, you're getting their attention. Hey, can I talk to you for a second? Wait until you have their attention. Wait until they give it back to you. You deserve that. You deserve that. And you know what? They deserve it too. They deserve for you to hold a high enough standard for them that helps them to learn to have really good communication. They're going to need it for life. So require that of them. invite it, require it, and then command it. So you could take that and you could put it into practice and have a lot of success probably. So test it and see. Let me know how it goes. The third reason, though, that is a little more complex, I'm not going to lie, is when you give your kid a direction and they don't follow, they do not understand why they need to do it. Emphasis on need to do it. Why do they have to? Now, you may know right now your hairs may be coming up on your neck. Oh my God, that sounds just like my kid. But why do I have to do it? Why do I need to? This is so dumb. So I have another kid like this. She doesn't use that tone with me. But that, because I'm big on tone, it's not allowed. But that attitude, that perspective, that approach to life, some kids come in with it. And often parents don't know what to do with that. It takes you back a little bit. So if you or your partner has said things like, oh my God, if I talked to my parents like that, like I would have gotten hit upside the head. I would have been sent back to last year. There's no way I could have acted like this. This is crazy. If you go into that spiral in your mind about your kid, what the heck? Where have I gone wrong? Because my kid is behaving like this. So I want to say a couple things about these kids. And for you to understand them a little bit better. Some kids have I'm going to say it this way. A lot of kids, most children have an awareness of an authority that exists outside of them. Either you or your partner or spouse. They're aware that you're like an authority over them, or that they sort of like, they pick up on your teaching about you need to be respected. They need to cooperate with you. They pick up on it and they fall into line and they follow that way. So most kids, though not perfectly, though they will forget and they will make mistakes, because so do we, most kids are going to go that route. So again, I'm not saying even that is easy, but if you're a mom of a kid who has not fallen into that line, and you have other kids and they have, and you're looking at this one kid and you're going, something is different about this kid. This child marches to the beat of their own drum, and I don't understand the rhythm, and I don't understand how they can refuse things or be defiant or fight me on every little thing. This is how it goes for some strong-willed, spirited kids. These kids are often more, they're bright or even gifted brain. They're bright kids. They are not your average intelligence kids. These are kids who are, they definitely think out of the box that most other people are thinking inside of. They're really out of the box kids. Where other kids are able to observe an authority outside of them, like a teacher, a parent, whomever, these kids do not recognize authority in that same way. They only recognize an internal authority, pretty much. Like their voice that they answer to is in their own head. It's in here. And these kids are just tougher to parent because you cannot fall back on traditional parenting methods with them. They don't fit, they don't work. And then the worst of it is, if you try to parent them in traditional methods, consequences, removing rewards, logic, explaining why they need to do things, convincing them, nagging them, any of the other things that you really can get away with other kids. These kids, if you do that with them, it will increase the power struggles, the arguing, and it will hurt your relationship with them. It will disconnect them from you. It will cause a rift and a separation between you and your child. And this is where it gets so painful. So painful. And look, I know it's so hard as a mom to find the patience to like do the work, to show up and learn what you need to learn, or find the resource, or find the help, or invest in working with an expert when you obviously are sort of above your pay grade with this kid. But that is the game changer for these kids. Being able to understand why they're doing the things they're doing, and then to have a clear process or approach that creates connection is the game changer. And here's why. These kids need not fake leverage, not traditional parenting methods. Like, they mean nothing to these kids. These kids are like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And I can resonate, because a part of me was always like this too, like, but that rule doesn't make sense. Why would I follow it? That just doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't feel right to me. And I can resonate a little bit with that, like, internal sense of authority, rather than just kind of following what someone else tells me to do. I'm always like, it doesn't feel right, I'm not going to do it. Within normal limits, you know what I mean? But these kids are needing to know why it's important for them to do the thing. They're also needing to be bought in to following your directions. And even sometimes I've seen where parent-child dynamics can be really tough, because mom hasn't even thought through why it's important yet, or why the kid needs to do it. She's just kind of like in the, we're busy. We're in the mode. It just needs to happen. This is how it should be. It should be. It was like this with me. Kid's like, that, no. Mm-mm. And that is so frustrating for parents then, because it's like, you don't respect me. You're not seeing me as an authority. You don't care what I have to say. It's really deeply wounding and hurtful, actually, as a parent. So if any of these things are happening for you, say yes in the comments now. If any of this is resonating for you, you have a child like this, you feel like this with your child, you have experienced that hurt and that anger that comes when your kid totally just blows you off and doesn't listen to you. If any of these things have happened, say yes in the chat. So I want to, and I can see some yeses coming up, so that's good now. Tell me if this is you. I want you to know and understand, like, your kid is fantastic. You have the best kind of kid. And I said a lot earlier about how hard they are, and how really, these kids are our future leaders. If we can get it right, they're our future leaders. They are the thought leaders. They're the out-of-the-box thinkers. They're the ones who are going to come up with the solutions to these incredible complex problems that we have in this world and on this planet now. They're typically really bright. They are not afraid of things. They're not going to bow down to some sort of thing that doesn't make any sense around them. They're going to make their own way. And I just think that these kind of kids, the strong-willed kids, these intense kids, these spirited kids that's just my favorite kind of kid. They're so magical, and they're also so hard to parent. And you really do need a clear process. And when you have a clear process, everything gets easy, because it removes all the thinking and all the meaning you're making of their behavior, and you're putting the blame on you or on them. And then it hurts the relationship. If you want a close relationship with your kid, you need to understand who they are. And then you need a really clear process that you can follow, so that you're able to not just maintain a connection, but to deepen a real, genuine, authentic connection with them that stands the test of time, stands the test of adolescence, of their friend groups and the influences that they have all over the media and all over the phone they'll eventually have, and or that they have now that you can't peel out of their hands, because they've moved their power of influence to that thing in their hand, which you guys know, if you've looked at YouTube, you know that anybody can put up a YouTube video. And dear God, like the influences that are there of people who are saying things like they know things, it is shocking and it is frightening. And you want to be the influence in your child's life. You want to be their source of teaching about values, but you need them to hear you for any of that to get through. You need to have a relationship with them where they value what you have to tell them in order for them to get what you're saying. And if they're saying no to you, blowing you off, tuning you out, trust me, it is not going to get easier from here. It's only going to get harder from here. They get better and better at discerning, at tuning you out, at pretending and yesing you, and then sneaking around and doing things behind your back. That's how it goes with tweens on. So if your child especially is between like 5 and I'd say 11, these are critical years to change the wiring in your relationship and start to leverage. It's like you got to learn a new system and how to parent them successfully, and then you need to leverage the relationship that you're building with them for them to be able to ultimately thrive. I know I've worked with so many parents, hundreds and hundreds of families, and so many parents who had very real fears about their kids just not just falling into the wrong crowd and then using drugs, but like, or whatever, then, you know, everybody has their own kind of nightmare pop-ups that happen, but really losing your kid. And these are kids who the emotions are so intense for these kids that when they turn them on themselves, we see suicidality. We see kids getting checked into inpatient treatment on all kinds of prescription drugs that then cause suicidal ideation as a side effect. This is really common. You know, kids sneaking around and moving into secrecy and not telling you they're in a secret relationship with someone that would horrify you if you knew. There's just so many things that you do not want to happen. And in order to prevent those, you want to invest in your relationship with your child now. And that means the way you parent them, so that for the long term, they turn to you when they need help. They turn to you for support, that you are their person. You want to be their person. I want to hear, number one, if you want to know more about this, just say yes in the comments now. If you want to know more about this, I've got a couple of sessions next week in the free workshop where I'm going to be going deeper into this, deeper into understanding your kid, what's behind this, how to really, how to get through to them, how to build the relationship with them that will stand the test of time. If you feel like you need more tools on this and you want to work with me, I have an incredible free offer next week, which is a 5-day workshop that is brand new. It is called the Peaceful Parenting Playbook, and I'll drop you guys a link as soon as I finish this broadcast so that you can go ahead and sign up. If you have not already, we have 5 live sessions Monday through Friday. And you will have an opportunity to learn about what it's like to do the deeper work with me, how to create a really healthy connection with your kid and use that as leverage to get them to cooperate with you, to have real communication with you, to get their buy-in on things. There are just a lot of tools we're going to go into next week that I know will make a massive difference for you, as well as learning like what more is available here. If you want to come and work with me, if you want to come into Awakened Motherhood and do that work, this is not a game you want to wait around and see what happens for. These are your kids, are the most important thing in the world. If you want more on this and this has been helpful for you, come to the free workshop. Make time for it. Make time to show up live. Ask your questions. Yeah, I'm here to help you. I have seen and met kids whose parents were not willing to do the work, and I know what happens to them, and they really are on their own to learn the tools and skills. And so I just want to celebrate you, and really support your. Oh, thanks for telling me the volume's low. Shoot, I wish I've gotten that comment before. Thanks for letting me know. It's mic. Could be the mic. Um, I want to support you in doing the hard work now, and doing the stretching and the growing, so that you have the lifetime relationship with your kid. Your kid is not only safe, but is thriving, and you have that closeness with them for the long haul. Okay, friends, I'm going to drop you a link if you'd like more. If this was helpful for you, join me for the workshop next week. Looking forward to that one. And let me know what was helpful for you. Drop in the comments. What was helpful today? Do you have a kid who's struggling like this? Are you struggling like this? Tell me more, and I'll take that and I'll bring it into the sessions next week. Okay, you guys. Until Monday, I'll see ya. Have a great